Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Clover Gardens Board meeting, February 10th. We're calling this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. Roll and mission, please.
Will the board, we are entrusted to care for the current school. We take focus on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission of Clover Garden School. Clover Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, and produce successful citizens.
Thank you. So you have the agenda in your board folder. Any changes to the agenda for tonight? If not, any changes to the agenda tonight? Okay. Who'd like to make a motion for tonight's agenda? Ms. Morrow, second. Walton, all in favor? Yep. The next thing is our January 20th, 2026 minutes. Any changes, revisions to the minutes? Any questions? Here are none. So I'd like to make a motion to approve January minutes. Ms. Morrow, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? Minutes have been approved. Do we have any public comment tonight?
No, sir.
Any special guests tonight?
Officially, but they will be speaking for the school.
Okay, very good. Next is finances, Mrs. Simmons.
The January budget is out there for review and any questions.
Any questions on the budget?
Just have
January
one.
budget.
I have one. The state revenue states that there were test result bonuses. Do teachers get those bonuses?
Never paid out.
Question. Any other questions? No other questions. Who would like to make a motion to approve the January budget? Mr. Young, second. Ms. Morrow, all in favor? January budget has been approved. Next, we'll move into academics, our principal's report. Who would like to go first? All right.
Good evening, everyone. So we're gonna switch up just a little bit. We're gonna begin with our spotlight or highlight today. So we have our special guest representing our Spanish as well as student government. You wear several hats, so I think some coaches as well. She's gonna speak with us today. I'm gonna have Miss Valley High to come in her own way. I hope she has help. You.
Thank y'all for having us tonight. I am Tara Dolly. I think I've met you. I've been here about 2 years. And I am our Spanish program, high school, and I co-chair several clubs, student council, FCA, and the Spanish club, and I coach volleyball and softball. But I have brought a student to talk to you about the electives. But I am going to share with you, we have some exciting things going on in Spanish. So North Carolina does not require students to take Spanish 1 and 2 or any language to graduate, but Clover Garden does, and which is a really great opportunity because those really great colleges, Carolina State, they require a language. So the fact that we are still offering that when some schools are cutting that budget is really great. And then this year we started an honors Spanish 2 class for the first time. That is new to North Carolina. We have new standards that were implemented last year, and I've been going to professional development to learn about those. And so that is a new class that the state recognizes, and we opened our first one, and we have 13 honors Spanish 1 kids that were put in, and we just opened the class like in December. So that was really exciting. And we also have an honors Spanish 3. And these kids are doing really well. They were given a picture today and told to talk, and they did for over a minute, and were able to produce enough language to understand what they were talking about. So that's really exciting to see where the program is going. Kids are excited. They're asking, are we having Spanish 4 next year? And what are we doing? And we're looking at hopefully offering those things and being able to give those kids some more advanced classes and more advanced opportunities. And it's exciting. It's exciting to be a part of it. So this time, if you don't have any questions about Spanish and what we're doing, I'm going to introduce Sydney Bressler. She is a part of all the things. She is in part, she's had my Spanish class and she is in our student council, helps keep me organized, and she's in FCA and the Spanish club. So she just wanted to come and talk to you about those things. That'd be better to hear from her than me.
Good evening. My name is Nate Bressler. I'm a junior at Clover Garden, and I've been asked to share 3 different clubs that I'm in. The first club I wanted to talk to you about is Student Council. To me, Student Council is not just a club, it is the voice of the students. It is very important to Clover Garden because this is a motivating club because it allows students to be involved in planning events and making decisions that improve our school. We have frequent meetings that are important to attend because this is where we do most of our brainstorming for events for the students, teachers, and community. It enhances my school experience by teaching me planning, budgeting, helping me build leadership skills, hold connections, and feel like the students' voices matter. I look forward to continuing learning and growing in student council. The second club I'll be talking about is Spanish Club. Spanish Club is very exciting because it lets us experience the Spanish language and culture in a way that goes beyond the classroom. Spanish Club allows us to improve and make mistakes without feeling pressure. Spanish Club will also help me in the future nursing career because in healthcare, communication is extremely important, and being able to understand and speak Spanish can help me better connect with patients and their families. I'm hoping to take Spanish 3 and 4 honors next year. The last club, which is most important to me, is FCA. I'm very passionate about my faith, and it is such a good experience to bring into school and try to encourage more people to trust in God. We meet every Friday morning to read scripture and strengthen our faith together. This year, FCA created the first worship night at our school, and it was such a success. It was unbelievable how many students, teachers, and families showed up for the worship night. FCA gives me a space to reflect, grow, and surround myself with people who encourage kindness and positivity. Thank you for allowing me to speak at this board meeting about clubs that have impacted my life. I'm grateful that Clover Garden sees a need for these clubs, and it's a privilege to be part of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, thank y'all.
So it hasn't been that long since we have met, so there's not a lot. We've had a great successful 6 days after the winter. But we are, all of our staff, the teachers, even the kids, they are truly happy to be back into a routine, and they are pushing as hard as we can to catch up after all the winter closures. We've got the ACT coming up this month for our juniors, February the 24th. Today we had a check-in for our English 2 kiddos. Our MTSS team is going to meet this month on the 27th to continue to review our data. Even though we had quite a long break, we are still shooting for our goals and aiming high. Curriculum night is Thursday night this week. So it's from 6 to 8 at the high school. Our rising ninth graders will be able to tour the building, see the teachers. The teachers will be in their classroom so they can come in and look and be able to find out about what courses they offer, what happens in those courses, and kind of get highlights of what we offer here at the high school, because advising season is here. We'll be setting up appointments with our rising 8th through rising 12th graders to get them ready for next school year and the upcoming months. So lots of busyness going on with advising season. Our athletics continue to go strong. The dugouts are being redone on the softball field, and the covered hitting cages are set to be built within the next week. Our middle school girls basketball are in the championship tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Cornerstone. So go to middle school girls. Friday, February the 13th, is our winter sports senior night. And Saturday, we're hosting the Chatham Charter. With the winter weather came lots of rescheduling. So buckle in, we have lots of busy weeks coming up. And our spring sports begin next week as we wrap up our winter sports. So with our student life, the K-8 Grizzlies are going to the scholars who made the honor roll for the second quarter and have perfect attendance for the semester will be recognized this week. With our health and safety, we continue to do our monthly drills. We have them coming up in February, which is a short month, so those are quickly approaching. And then with our calendar events, we have Texas Roadhouse Spirit Night for the SBA at the middle school on Thursday, the 12th. Our curriculum night this Thursday. Senior night for winter senior athletes is the Friday, the 13th. And then February the 16th, we are closed for President's Day. That concludes our principal report.
Thanks so much for that. Any questions? With that, we'll move into old business. Safety plan, Ms. Rakin.
No new updates at this time.
The next on the list is our revision to our code of conduct.
So this is kind of a continuation of our last meeting. Hopefully everybody got an opportunity to kind of read through, the code of conduct revisions. I wish I could tell you that will be the last set of revisions you'll have. But as things happen, as situations arise, the legal team does a really good job of kind of keeping us in the loop of what needs to be updated, what needs to be changed based on situations they have dealt with and are actively dealing with. So I guess just if you guys have any questions about the notes that were in there, just let us know.
Make any questions or comments? This will be up for a vote tonight. Here none. So who would like make a motion to approve the revision of code of conduct? Ms. Morrow, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? Revision code of conduct has been approved. And then the last thing we have, our old business, is our indicator 11 update.
So this is just for information. So there was still one thing pending within the EC department for the school year 23-24. I think I mentioned to you guys about this before, but you have like a 90-day timeline, a window of time that you have to complete evaluations on students. And then there was one student that it was missed outside of that deadline. And so when you miss that deadline, you have to do a lot of compliance pieces to make sure that you're back in alignment with how it's supposed to be. So Mr. Squibb came to us. He wasn't even with us that year, but had to be responsible for fixing it because he started with us the following year. So shout out to him and Ms. Arlecamp and then several other folks on our EC team for doing all of the requirements that you had to do to be in compliance again. So again, that was their. Again, this is just our closeout letter to let us know, hey, this isn't open anymore. And they appreciate us working through the process to make it compliant.
Thank you. So we're moving to our committee updates. We'll start with governance.
No update at this time.
Finance.
We had our meeting right before this meeting and we'll get into that, I guess, in closed session.
Yeah, and I'll second that with long range planning. So we'll have a few projects and a few items to discuss during closed session. I know Ms. School is not here tonight. I did speak to her. There's no academic update at this time. They will be meeting sometime in March. And then last is our 25th party.
Yeah, we'll have another meeting probably in the next couple of weeks now that we are back from the snow,
Right,
hopefully.
right. Sounds good. So that jumps us into new business. So all about remote learning.
Words I never thought I'd hear again.
Hope.
It's COVID. So just kind of give you guys an update. We've had a heck of a couple of weeks of work like everybody else with weather. And so long story short, we do have built-in snow days to our schedule, our academic calendars every year. Typically we don't burn them all out. So what do? We don't need that many. Let's reduce it. But then you reduce it, then what happens? Snowpocalypse. Okay. So we only had around 3 to 4 days in our academic calendar for this school year. So of course we have utilized those already. So then we had to get creative with making adjustments, and beautifully, the way our calendar is beautifully made is that there are pockets of places. We have some half days for professional development, just for work days, things like that. We have some mental health days, which is huge, for our families and our staff. So we did have some areas that we could kind of move and shake. We were able to just recently, because of the timing, we were able to flop our weeks. So our academic break week was able to be swapped from one of the weeks of weather. So anyway, so we've been very creative with that. one thing that we have not utilized since remote learning from COVID is a remote learning plan or a remote instruction plan. We have not used one. Our families at the time when we surveyed them were, no way, I never want a remote learning plan again. Okay. So we kind of rolled with that. And so we built days into our calendar, and we've not run into this issue until this year where there has been so much inclement weather. We have had years before where we've had so many snow days built in that we were able to give the kids half days at the end of the school year, just because we had the extra hours. So we operate on the 10/25. So if you've seen that on the news and things like that, you can either go by days or you can go by hours. And so our calendars are by hours. So we have the flexibility with, our early start calendar and our academic break weeks and things like that. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of give you an overview. I've had several questions for families and parents, especially when we got into week 2, okay, of like, hey, what are our options? Because when I put the who wants to go on Saturday, I didn't have a whole lot of buy-in, okay, from staff or families, okay, on those options. So anywho, so we were kind of thinking about other options. And so one of the options that you do have every year, you can submit this to the state, but it's a remote instruction plan. And you have, for our area, we have up to 5 days that can be used for remote learning, okay? So some areas have up to 15 days based on their area, the region where they're at. They may have more inclement weather than everybody else. So you may have seen a lot of that on the news recently too, because something's being pushed out to all of us right now about asking for waivers with the goal of including more than 5 days for the region. Okay, so again, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that with pulling data from historic, information with storms and things like that. How many days do they miss, typically per county? And that's kind of where those came from. So long story short, we are not eligible for the 15 days, but we are eligible for 5. And so more conversation was happening because at this point now, based on our survey that we sent out for our families, the next step, if we miss any more inclement weather, and we're only in February, okay, even though today was beautiful, okay, and hopefully you looked at a lot of that snow and ice, we are still in the winter season, right? So there could be more inclement weather. So the next choice for our school would be to add on to the end of the school year, okay? And we still have a really nice schedule, a weekend before Memorial Day. However, this would just push us another week. So it would be June, the very, very beginning of June. But as a just an option, because these remote learning plans are due the year prior. They're due by June 30th. Okay, every year they're due for the following year. You have to turn it in by June 30th. Well, so we got some information from some other school systems and other charters that were like, hey, we just submitted our plan. And we're like, what? Because again, there's a process to that. There's a lot of people that have to play a part in your remote learning plan. Because your parents have to be bought in, your kids have to be able to do it, you have to have the resources, and most of all, the teachers have to be willing to teach it, and they have to be willing to put the content in there for our kids to be successful. So long story short, we reached out to DI, and he said, Heather, if you can turn it around in 3 hours, I'll make it work. I'll approve it. I said, oh my goodness. I said 3 hours, okay, and I don't like to do that without having buy-in from our staff and their feedback, okay? So, but just to get us in there, he said, hey, if you could turn it around and get us something, he said, I'm getting ready to shut all these down. He said, I've been told don't accept any more plans, because what's everybody in North Carolina doing right now? Submitting a remote instruction plan. And so I said, okay. I said, well, we've got something rough, that we used a long time ago that can be a start point. So our awesome admin team up here, barreled down, we focused on it, we knocked it down, we put a preliminary plan in place. So what you see in your board folder that I have not shared anywhere else, okay, so anybody that's watching, it's not out there yet, because I want to make sure you guys are okay. And the vote I'm asking for today is I don't have to have that approval in order to submit our plan, okay? So that's okay, that's done, and we actually were approved, okay, based on the plan that you guys see in your folder. So it's a series of different programs that you're going to utilize, what's it going to look like for your different grade levels, things like that. So the plan that's in there is an approved plan, and we were given permission to utilize it this school year. Okay, so the remainder of the school year, it is able to be used. What we had initial information about was that, of course, we would submit it in June, and then it would be eligible to be utilized next school year. So that was kind of a holy moly, yeah, let's jump on it just to give us the option if we could have it. So what you have there is, like I said, it's an approved plan, but that has not been communicated to any of our staff yet. So what I'm asking for, I guess, today is, do you guys want us to use a remote learning plan as part of our makeup time or in lieu of inclement weather or days out of school for that. I think it's kind of what I need today. This is the preliminary plan. There will be changes made to this as we kind of meet up with our teachers and kind of get that going. As soon as tomorrow, I'll probably share the plan with them and say, hey, tell me what's wrong with it. Okay. So that we can kind of walk through that. And then our next step would be to kind of communicate that out to our families. Okay. If we want to use that and we want to have this in our pocket, instead of adding on days to the end of the school year this year, that would give us 5 additional days that we could utilize for inclement weather moving forward to the end of the school year. So it was really, it was a shock to us that they would, accept that. But we moved quick because I don't even know if it's still open now for people to submit plans. I have no idea. But that is something that we can utilize. And our goal, of course, would be to beat that up before we resubmit in June. I do want an updated one in June that's kind of a little bit more detailed, but this gives us what we would need to be able to use those days and feel good and validate those days off of school because you would have a plan to put in place. The hard part, and you'll see that in there, our K-5 students do not have devices. 6 through 12 have devices, okay? K through 5 does not. And so, we would really have to rely on our teachers and we would really have to rely on weather forecasts and things like that. For our storm, we kind of knew ahead of time, right? It was coming, get ready, it was coming. So it would be part of that would be the biggest challenge I foresee would be with our littles and making sure that information is sent home ahead of time so that everybody has something to pull out of their book bag, if they're out of school, because they would not technically be on devices like our 6 through 12 grade kids would be. So I guess I'm encouraging you to kind of look through that, put your parent hat on, also as well as your board hat, and give us any feedback that you guys might have, that we can look at when we're adding, amending, changing. But it's a very good base plan. And I think that this is something that could be utilized pretty quickly, if we had to put it in place this school year. So any questions? I know I gave you a lot of info there.
Any questions on that? So just to be clear, there's a maximum of 5.
Now, there
Days.
is, if we're this around, you've probably seen that on the news too, but I just got one again today that's like, hey, everybody's emailing and writing to the senators and representatives and trying to ask for maybe a little bit more than 5, based on this year in our area that got hit. One thing that I think it's probably pertinent to kind of say out loud is that Clover Garden doesn't just serve one county. Okay, so that is I get that a lot. Well, Alamance County, okay, but we serve Alamance County, Guilford County, Calhoun County, Rockingham, Randolph. Like I can keep going up to 6. So, we do have to look at all of those things when we are making closures. It truly is the last thing we want to do is close those doors. That's the last thing we want to do, but we do have to put that into account. We have buses that 1/3 of our population rides to school every day. We have teenager drivers out there, and of course staff to look at as well. But we do serve multiple counties, and sometimes that is maybe not understood, I think, by all as well. So we kind of have to look at the big picture. But yes, sir, right now, 5, and everybody's kind of lobbying for more than that. But as of right now, the way the law stands, it's up to 5.
Okay. And if there were approved for additional days past the 5 legislative, that would just be an automatic.
I believe
To
that
the-
if you already have
If you already have a plan in place, correct? Okay. Any questions? Questions on the plan?
As of now, we've used everything.
We've used all of our snow days.
Okay.
Now next year, we're back to more snow days. Okay, it's like that balance.
Right.
We do have more, we have about 7 in next year's calendar. So I guess the point is we still want our kids to be able to have snow days. Okay, that's part of our, there's a point to that as well. But when you get to the point of now you're having to make all this time up, and they're out of school for so long, we do want to use something to kind of keep the kids sharp if we can. So yes.
This would be if it snowed again. We
Right.
had another,
That's, or,
We
yeah,
have,
some events,
a new thing. Okay.
which again, we're still in beginning of February.
Not even the halfway.
We've had some bad weather in the February, March. That's North Carolina weather for you. So there is a chance that we haven't seen the last of the inclement weather. All right, so who would like to make a motion to implement the remote learning plan, due to inclement weather. Ms. Roney, second. Ms. Morrow, all in favor? You have a remote learning plan approved. You can utilize that for this school year. That's correct. You. Next is cafeteria inspections, which is just info. Simmons.
The K-8 one is in there, but also the
Okay. Any questions on the cafeteria? I don't think there was any issues, correct?
findings. Yeah,
I mean, no major,
yes.
and everything's been resolved. Okay. All right. Very good. So that's pretty much it for new business before we go into closed session. So we'll start closed session with General Statutes 143-18.11A5. Who would like to make a motion to go into closed session? Mr. Young, who would like to second? Ms. Morrow, all in favor? We're in closed session at 6:58.